Welcome back. An interesting development that was announced by Pidilite yesterday is the fact that they've tied up with a venture capital fund, 100x VC, to identify strategic investment opportunities for an arm of the company, Pidilite Ventures itself. Pidilite Ventures, of course, has earlier invested in companies like BuildNext, FindMake, as well as Carvaan. So can they look at more opportunities here? And what is the kind of money that they're earmarking for it? We have both Apurva Parekh, the Executive Director at Pidilite Industries, and Yagnesh Sangrajka, who's the founder and CFO at 100x VC, joining us on the show. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for joining in. Apurva, the first question to you, how much money are you earmarking for investments? And what kind of companies are you looking at in terms of investments?
We have not specifically earmarked any amount for this, but we will be very judicious and cautious in making the investment. The type of companies that we are looking for are fast-growing, innovative companies that have synergies with either our core or adjacent businesses.
Okay. Yagnesh Sangrajka is also with us, the founder and CFO at 100x VC. Yagnesh, you tell us, what are the kind of opportunities that you're looking at? And in a market like this, would it be easy to sort of, see fruition in some of these opportunities, say, over the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, we are seeing a lot of opportunities, at the early stage, exactly where we've partnered with Pidilite Ventures. As early stage fund, our business is to look at dynamic founders who are doing something disrupting. And Pidilite Ventures has a very core business, and they are looking at opportunities around. So on the home improvement space, renovation space, smart building materials, etc., these are the areas which Pidilite is looking at. And since, home instruction, all of this is on a rise, we are seeing a lot of startups who are bringing innovative solutions on the core. And then we are evaluating them, shortlisting them, working closely with the Pidilite Ventures team to evaluate whether these make sense for Pidilite's core objectives, and also help startups because Pidilite brings with it such a diverse set of expertise, including branding, reach out to distribution network. So it's a win-win situation for the startups and Pidilite Ventures.
It is win-win, but I wanted to understand, Yagnesh, from your endpoint, how does this model work? Does Pidilite give you a commission for every investment that you bring for them, or is there any, fees that you get? Is it equity-based, etc.? And what makes you confident of, looking at companies better than Pidilite itself? Because Pidilite in the past has made investments in companies like Pepperfry. They've made strong investments which they've scaled up as well, including the likes of WD-40, there was Araldite, etc. So what makes you confident of outdoing Pidilite itself in a space that they've been tracking very closely?
Well, interesting question here, but let me answer it differently. It's not about outdoing Pidilite. It's about bringing startups which are doing disruptive work in the same area, which can complement Pidilite's objectives and enhance their vision in terms of collaborating with these new young dynamic founders, which can strengthen their business model further. These startups have the potential to grow with the support of Pidilite. So it's going to be a collaborative partnership. And some of these startups can become very big with the support of Pidilite. So that's the answer to the first question. The second is obviously this is a long-term strategic partnership. These are not a relationship which is transaction-based. We work with Pidilite on a long-term partnership, and hence it's a long-term arrangement with Pidilite. So there is no commission per transaction. It's a long-term arrangement.
Okay. I have two questions here. Apurva, you said that you haven't earmarked any amount just yet, but how many investments would you be looking at over the next 1 to 3 years? And also, you said it will largely be in businesses which are ancillary to your own business. So is it just home improvement, building materials, or any other spaces that you're looking at as well?
The investment-wise, in a year, we would look at, possibly doing between 3 to 4 investments in a year. But as I said earlier, we will be very judicious and cautious, and we will make the investment only when we find compelling opportunities. As far as focus areas of investment will be around home improvement, construction, building materials, arts and crafts. Basically, all the core and adjacent businesses of Pidilite, we would look at companies which have good synergies with them so that we can add value to their growth and also benefit by collaborating with them.
We understand that you'll be judicious, Apurva, as you should be. Is there any internal benchmark that you have with regards to any sort of ROI expectation that you have in any of these investments that you would be doing? What's the kind of, I would rather say, MOI rather than ROI, multiple of investment as against return on investment?
See, I think multiple of investment is relevant for people who are looking at an exit in a defined period of time. While we are having a very long-term approach, where these businesses also add value to Pidilite and Pidilite adds value to them. Of course, we are looking and, we are obviously hoping for very good returns, very healthy return on capital that we deploy amongst them. But, the direction is very long-term. So multiple of investment may not be a right indicator, but it should definitely generate good return on capital on an overall basis.
So is there a possibility that some of these investments would eventually materialize in a takeover by Pidilite as well, because they are in ancillary spaces?
It is, it is very early to say, but everything is possible. It would depend on what is in the best interest of the business. Our
Yagnesh?
focus should be is to decide based on what is the right thing to do for the business.
Right. Yagnesh, what struck me most from the press release that came was the offering of VAS, Venture Capital as a Service. Are you seeing a lot of other corporates enter this as well? Apart from Pidilite, what other partnerships do you have?
So currently, apart from the core investing business that we do, so we've invested in about 80 early stage startups since the launch of fund in 2019. So that's our core business. We work with early stage founders. And while we were doing this, we were talking to a lot of corporates, including Pidilite Industries as well. And we found that corporates also wish to kind of participate in the early stage in all the disruptive, innovative ideas. And hence came the idea of VAS, Venture Capital as a Service. Because we understand, we know early stage founders, how the journey begins from the 0 to 1 journey of all founders. We've seen that through in our portfolio. So we wanted to start sharing our knowledge with corporates. And we are, of course, in touch with a lot of other corporates as well. Some of them we are working closely, early stages still. The relationship is quite new. But we hope to grow this business, grow partnerships with a lot of corporates who are very keen to invest in early stage.
Okay. Apurva, since we have you with us, I have to ask you about the overall business, because the demand has come back in a big way post-COVID. The stock itself has given, returns of 35% just in the last 3 months. How is the business at the moment, and what kind of sustainable volume growth do you foresee?
Overall, I would not like to comment on the overall business situation at this time. As you know, we only like to make comments after the quarterly results, because it would not be right to make comments about the business conditions during the quarter. So we will surely comment on this at the end of the quarter.
Take that point, Apurva. But, just a quick word on VAM prices. What are they at right now? At the peak, they were 2,600. They had, declined to about 2,000. Has the decline continued in the second quarter so far?
Yes, VAM prices have declined and they are now below $2,000. So there has been a good decline from peak of about 2,600, which was seen a few months ago.
So they're below $2,000, right?
They are below $2,000, yes.